We are sitting in DeKalb County, Illinois. We have recently been surpassed as the #1 hog county in Illinois. Not only looking at about 20,000 sows, but also associated finishing production from those sows. And we border Chicago, so we kind of have some natural borders to us. We are not dense in the terms of southern Minnesota or northern Iowa, but we have our pockets. This is one pocket of about a half-mile radius with about 6 farms and 20,000 pigs. We can certainly watch it jump from farm to farm like some of you may see in more dense areas, but we're certainly looking at a very commercial area. Just kind of blow this up a little bit, this is kind of just the sites listed across our area, focusing mainly on DeKalb County, which is a rectangle there, and then jutting out for important points of interest, trying to make sure we had anything of any size or felt that had relevance to affect other things in the area, that they were included. Certainly not some exclusion lines, but some inclusion kind of odd lines. And definitely more heavily populated in the north half to 2/3 of the county. Where we've done what we've done thus far. This all started with the change in genetics. The area had typically been supplied by a Illini swine, which was a PRRS positive genetic source. That decision was made to change that. That started the whole ball rolling, not only in terms of we now could make it feasible, but also we had some negative stock coming in. We were going to have to do some changes on some farms to how we were physically going to bring those gilts into all these new herds. Came to this meeting, started to get some, shall we say, momentum, and it's just been map the sites. Okay, map the sites done. Starting to make decisions on improving that biosecurity. There has been some filtering of the boar stud in the GDU, and then just a constant improvement on all the farms. We get you done on step 1. Okay, you got step 1. It's part of your routine on the farm. Okay, now you get step 2 level of biosecurity. And we kind of came back and really started control plans on these farms right away. And I think that's been a big part of how we've been able to snowball momentum, is because people have seen improvements in their production from some of controlling and getting some of these herds stable. We've had some advisory board meetings. We had a big producer kickoff meeting in February, and the outcome of that meeting was virtually everybody was there, signed this consent form, and said, okay, let's go. What's your next step? These guys don't like to wait around. They do want to keep moving. One of the things we've done that was really impressive and enjoyable was we had a meeting with all the transportation companies here this fall, and we filled a room. And on a nice day when I expected everybody to be in the fields this fall, we filled a room. And from that meeting, at least one guy has gone out and has started pouring concrete for a truck wash. So we've made improvements, and everybody thought it was something to go forward with. This can't be completely easy as pie. It's been rolling around pretty good. And the last 2 weeks have been a little bit of setbacks, but I wouldn't say that by no means are we throwing in the towel. It's simply a way of, okay, it's even more motivation to go forward, and now we kind of have a network and a way to deal and a plan when these breaks do happen, because we knew they were going to happen. It was just a question of when and keeping them as contained as possible. So as we've set out to define our area, the things we think make it worthwhile and make it a good project up here is we have Chicago. The only pigs in Cook County may be the politicians. I think we're pretty safe. We don't have a whole lot coming over from the east side. We're also getting an urban corridor along I-90 to the north. Between Rockford and Chicago is going to grow together. You're going to get almost an urban barrier to the north, not just low density. Very few pigs coming into this area. And of that, I'd say even fewer that we're not working with, aware of, know what's going on as they come in. So that's a big plus. All PRRS negative breeding stock kind of had to be a prerequisite to even think about doing some of it. We have progressive producers. Dale led in very nicely by showing that adaptation of technology, because I say our guys like to be on the cutting edge, not the bleeding edge. They fall in that early adopter category. Especially many of our independent producers, they want to be on the cutting edge. They don't want to be left in the dust, but they don't want to be cutting the very first path. We do have very few continuous flow finishing sites. Very few of those hotel nursery type situations, so it's pretty easy to all in, all out, push it out, bring negative pigs in behind, that site's clean again. That's a help, and bubble depop's kind of already built into flows. And Bethany Swine Health Services, we are putting the horses and the resources behind it. Virtually anything that comes up, we'll make sure it gets done. And I can tell you I have a list a mile long on my desk of more things that we want to get done. There's only so many hours of the day. Why? Improve production. Very so. We knew we could improve the production of not only the farms we manage, but the farms that are clients. We can improve the production of the pigs in this area. As we did that, you start stabilizing, you start improve the production, you can work on the communication, you can start having meetings, you can work on all these consent forms and mapping, finding that site that maybe you didn't know about around the corner, that type of thing. But when people see production improvements like this, the producers are happy. We started, this was one sow farm that was unstable and began stabilizing, and the production crew's happy, the managers are happy, they're seeing the improvement in the pigs, so they have no problem doing the next step. Now this site was, like I said, it was unstable and was vaccinating those wean pigs while they were stabilizing the sow farm, but they're happy and they're continuing to see good production going forward, so that's been the absolute driver of how we've been able to move forward. Everybody talks about money. This project costs. Whether it's the project cost or the cost on the farm, definitely you have to thank BI. They're a valuable partner, not just in terms of diagnostic help, but to Laura and Enrique for getting maps done in overnight time periods and giving us some of the valuable knowledge that we need to move forward. We did receive from PRRS cap funding this last year, and the big thing I think you have to have is our producers are bought in. They're paying 50% of any extra diagnostic costs because some of these frequencies of testing, 60 pigs every 2 weeks out of a sow farm, they're kind of shocked that we want to test that heavy. So we say, okay, you put up 50%, we'll get some of this funding to cover the other half of that, but you've got to pay for any of the vaccine. You've got to pay for extra needles. You have to pay for whatever that is on your farm because you're going to see the production benefit on the other end. And then Bethany is putting not only the hands and feet, but also kind of some of the upfront while we deal with some of these grants and reimbursements. There are a lot of sites and a lot of things going on. So mass chaos truly defines, if you're going to do a lot of work on a project, defines what you see. Choose your own method. Keep it simple. This serves very well. Keep it simple, stupid. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Just find a system that works for you. For us, this happens to be a form of a massive Excel spreadsheet. And since I kind of did this screenshot, I've added probably 10 more columns since. And it allows you to look at by farm, by area, by flow, by type, and start trying to categorize where they're coming from, what their status is, and trying to keep everyone in the loop regarding what those statuses are. And that's probably been a big push, is communicating those not only in-house. I think we feel like we got a good handle on what everybody's doing, but even we need to get better at sharing to everybody else what's going on. See your neighbors doing it, so now you can start, and all those types of improvements and moving forward. But we've been really happy with at least the activity we've been able to generate, and the movement and snowball and the effect of everyone getting on board has just been tremendous with our producers. We give them a lot of credit for that. And to tell you how we are doing this, I'll let Dr. Noel Garbes come up and share a little more on that.
Well, a lot of thanks goes out to Carrie for keeping this project moving, and she is certainly the muscle behind it, and keeps us motivated here too. Part of the thing was, first we got to get these herd plans going, and so, as Carrie said, we came last year to this meeting and very excited about getting something done. We looked at each other and said, we got to go, and so right away we started basically control on some of these breed and wean farms, because it looked like they were going to be the easiest thing to clean up, and so we started McRebel right away, and part of it was just stop passing some of these pigs, and we had some bad habits of doing that. And then we did have a farm too that was kind of smoldering that we went ahead in January and said we got to do something, so we came in with some vaccine early before we decided to go into elimination. So that farm got a dose of MLV about 60 days before we went into closure. So our whole plan was to load, close, and homogenize, and then we're going to use 2 doses of MLV at day 0 and day 30. And then the plan was for a 200-day shutdown. Now, we wanted to define stable at some point because we have our wean to finish guys out there, and our breed to wean, it's most of these guys are on a 9-week wheel, so they're getting pigs every 9 weeks. So, we 30 days after a second vaccination, we started testing pigs, 30 pigs, PCR, pool them, and then if they were positive, we'd wait 1 month and rebleed. And then we decided if they were negative, we'd increase the sample size, we'd double it, and increase the frequency to every other week. And so basically we wanted 3 negative tests so we could tell the wean to finish guys, all right, we feel pretty comfortable. You're getting negative pigs, so now it's time for you guys to go. And the whole idea here was also to have 9 negative tests before we open the sow farm back up to gilts. So on the wean to finish side, some of them decided early, even in January, that when they found out about this plan, they said, well, we're going to vaccinate anyway because, our health on the farm's not good, and so we'll go into more when we get to elimination. So basically, the wean to finish was more of a stabilization plan and hopefully eventually go into elimination. But we used 2 doses. We did it 2 ways. 2 doses of MLV. We'd market the oldest pigs. We'd vaccinate the 2 groups on the farm and the newest incoming group. And then 30 days later, we come back and vaccinate everything again. And then they had kind of a natural bubble day pop. They wouldn't get pigs again for 60 days. And we said, hey, guys, you got to do unidirectional pig flow. And then we need to also improve our on-farm biosecurity. The other practice we did said, okay, if we're not going to do the 0 and 30, we'll come and market the oldest group, max vaccinate again, the 2 groups on the farm and the incoming group, and then the next 2 groups that come in 9 weeks later, 18 weeks later, then we'll vaccinate them also. Same concept, unidirectional pig flow and improved biosecurity. Farrow to finish, these are all over the board really because they're different sizes, but the theory is the same. We needed control. We want to stop shedding and stabilize these farms. And so some have moved to elimination. They decided they actually moved off their nursery and finishing population and have went into closure. Others have just been a little bit slow and haven't been willing to go any farther than stabilize, but they are vaccinating and getting negative pigs at weaning. Well, here's a look at our sow farms, roughly 23 sow farms in this project area. We have in black January, how everything was classed, and then in October. And the big thing here we wanted to show is our unknowns and positive farms going to positive stable. And so a big push to stabilize farms. I know we still have some unknowns there. And out of those, I think we know most of those. There's probably 1 site here. I know there's 1 site where we haven't been allowed to test. And my last conversation with him, he's too busy. Finishing the sites, this is kind of where we have the same concept. We had a number of unknown sites we hadn't tested in quite a while. And so our whole idea here was to eliminate the unknowns, find out what class they were in. If they're positive, then get on some type of plan to stabilize their site. One thing we found is just like the HAM project is from January to October, we lost at least 10 sites, a few more than 10. Well, here's a map that better represents the area. So, we've got triangles being the sow farms and circles and the nursery finisher. And then our stars, the show pigs. Now, not all the show pigs are on here because most of those would appear blue. They're unknown. They're in and they're out of the business. So they're not all on there. We've got red positive, green negative, of course blue unknown, and then we've got a yellow on here. And the reason we classified them is because these are farms that have used modified live vaccine. And so some of these now have used it, and we believe stabilized. And so we began testing, and now we're isolating, sequencing modified live vaccine back off these farms. Others were negative on the first bleeding in January, but in the course of the South shutdown, then some of that vaccine leaked out. Well, how has this affected other areas? And thank Dr. Payne for helping put this together. In December last year, we were producing a lot of positive pigs and basically sending to you guys. And so, a year later, we have eliminated a lot of those. But I have to say this is not the true story because, as Carrie said, we've started producing some positive pigs again and sending them out. So you will get some of these pigs. We had contingency plans put together for a break, and we wanted to stabilize sow farms as soon as possible and get in there and stop shedding and wean to finish. And I'd say the breaks we have had, these guys have been very good. A week after, they're already in the finishers and nurseries and vaccinating. But we still want to decrease the amount of time that passes from a break to doing something. And so it goes back to decisions we've made about science, history. We're not going to use live virus in the area because we've done that before and it's spread to other farms. And so we need communication. And so how do we get back to where we were? And part of that is a good communication. These guys have said we want you to be very transparent. If we break, tell everybody. Tell them where we're at, where our pigs are. Tell them what the characterization of this virus is. But we want them to know. Well, what does the future hold? Well, the plan's still the same. We're moving ahead towards control, elimination. Of course, now we're certainly backing up a bit, and some of the farms have decided, well, maybe I want to go back in an MLB. I'm on my way to elimination, but maybe I want to go back in an MLB if that'll help with this new virus that we got in the area. And then what will we know, or what will we learn here from this new strain that's come in the area? Well, we'll certainly find out time to negative in these active breaks using MLB. And then also, with this new strain, we're going to find out the effectiveness of the MLB in the face of a challenge in the wean to finish. And so what it's going to do with clinical signs and shedding.